Hello and welcome back to another Mayday Mayhem mystery. I am Mayday Mayhem, and today we are continuing to talk with the Chicago missing women. And is there a serial killer in Chicago? And what evidence points to there being a serial killer? Now, on the last episode, we spoke about in regards to there possibly being a serial killer here on the streets of Chicago that has been killing, strangling women for nearly the past 20 years. Um, Crime analysts noticed in 2018 that there were a string of murders that all fit together. Like I said before, and on my podcast, Mayday Mayhem Podcast, where I speak candidly about these types of cases and some of the analysts and some of the things around the cases. But here, um, they started, and here in Chicago, of course, there is a high murder rate. I'm pretty sure a lot of you see on the news that there's gang activity, murder, but there is another underlying violence rate that happens in Chicago, and mainly in areas where there are not a lot of jobs, or where there are a lot of rundown buildings, where there are a lot of non-police activity and non-police cooperation. And those happen to be the south and west side of Chicago. And those happen to be also breeding grounds for a murderer to go unheard and unseen, because it is a highly densely populated area that is surrounded by crime. But this is why they've gone unnoticed for over 20 years. Now, they just came up with this analyst in 2018 studies that actually showed that there is a serial killer or killers roaming Chicago. And here are some of the victims. Now, if you see on the screen, these are very young women. Some of them are older. I believe the oldest victim of this Chicago Strangler was in their 50s. And they said it's been more than 50 over the past 20 years. But if you really look at statistically, it's way more than that, because some of these murders that I did look at and find, you can clearly see that whomever this serial killer was literally had nothing to do with a few of these murders. Like, you look at the murder of Teresa Bunn. Teresa Bunn is the beautiful young lady in the lower, I guess would be your left hand corner. It'd be my right hand corner on the screen. But she's with her head smiling, long hair, and like a little tape bob, smiling. She was 8 months pregnant, and she was burned and strangled in 2007 in a vacant lot by a trash can. Now, the reason I honestly say Teresa Bunn probably was not a victim is because she was 8 months pregnant. In victimology, and when you look at certain cases with certain victims, you always look at the spouse or the potential father of the child. So I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar that Teresa Bunn's killer was someone very intimate, very close, because she was 8 months pregnant. We've seen several times how spouses do not want another child, and they end up killing their wives and girlfriends. It was a case here that happened last year in 2021, where um a guy, he had a great job, making good money and everything. He literally killed his pregnant girlfriend because he said he told her he did not want any children. And he meant he didn't want any kids. And he killed her just because he did not want any children. Now, you have some men that are real adamant and they will go to those lengths to take your life or take a life because they don't want to deal with the responsibilities that they have helped make. Now, also, another person that I don't really believe is a part of the victimology of this Chicago Strangler, Hazel Lewis. She was a mother of three and a grandmother. She was killed in 2007. Now, she was killed the exact same way Teresa Bunn was. She was strangled and found in the garbage can lit on fire. Now, it's probably not out of the realm for a serial killer to change their methodology just to fit the fit the time. You know what I'm saying? And she was actually found near Washington Park. They were literally found on one end of each other on the south side of Chicago. Um, and it was it was a heinous murder, and they was found days apart, literally. Teresa Bunn happened one day, and literally Miss Hazel Lewis lost her life the very next day. Neither one of their killers have been brought to justice, but like I said, in Teresa Bunn's case, uh, I'm willing to bet my bottom dollar it was probably the spouse, and I'm pretty sure her family is feeling the same way. Another thing about the victimology that they talked about these women, that they explained them all as being prostitutes or drug addicts or women of the night, and that's absolutely not true. It's absolutely not true. You have the case of Nancy Walker. She was not a sex worker. She was not a rebellious teenager. She was not a drug addict or a woman that used drugs or anything of that nature. Um, and she was found in she came up missing in January of 2003. Now, not only was she a phenomenal sister to her siblings, but she was a property owner. Um, she was a dance teacher. You know, she not only owned property, but she even owned a salon. And her sister spoke about how, you know, her sister always had a saying, "What a day a difference makes." So what a day today makes. There we go. Had to get it right. So, you know, she was supposed to meet with her sister Monday for lunch. When she didn't meet with her sister Monday, you know, her sister kind of was like, "What's going on?" She tried to go and see her Tuesday at her class for teaching. She was never there. She never came. And even the other coworkers was like, "Well, no, she didn't show up. You know, actually she's late." And this is something that's out of the ordinary. Now, that's one thing that happens a lot in our community, where if we say a person is missing or a child is missing, they want to chalk it up to, well, maybe, you know, or not even a child, a grown woman, a sibling, a father, a mother, a grandmother. Oh, well, you know, they're adults, you know, you can't control them. Or, well, maybe they went to see friends, or, well, maybe they went to, and it can't be maybe they did this, or maybe they did that, because the family knows their family. Just like me, honest to God, my family knows me to the T. They know that I'm not the type of mother or parent or a woman that stays out days in and days out, or long periods of time, without calling and checking in with someone, that's just because I'm actually I've been a mother of four for 20 years, so I I'm always used to letting someone know where I am because I am a mother and I don't want them to worry about me. And there could be a car accident because I have been in a car accident. I could slip and fall, or I could have a seizure because I am epileptic. So I like to check in and make sure my family knows that, hey, I'm okay, whether it's through a text. They even know my texting style. With certain kids, I text a certain way versus me texting my sister. So even if I, Lord forbid, knock on wood, came up missing, they would know, like, whoa, that's not how Mayday texts. She doesn't text like that. She doesn't talk like that. She has a certain pattern to her speech. She says certain things. There are certain inside jokes. We know that all I have to do is say one word or one letter. She's going to attack on this because it's an inside joke. You know your relatives, you know your people. And this is a lot of what happened with a lot of these people. Like I said, Mary Walker, her family knew her. Like mine, they know me to a T. They know, like, I'm right round the corner. They know that means, oh, she's about to pull up in like 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, up there she is. They know me. I'm spot on. And if something was to happen to me, and if they went to the authorities, see, here we go with the miscommunication with the public and authorities. And if they go to the authorities and tell them, like, look, hey, this is out of her character. She doesn't do these things. She doesn't frequent these type of places. She goes where she goes, and she comes back home. She checks in. She's never been gone 10 hours or 24 hours without checking in somehow, some way. Even if her phone is dead, she will find a gas station or a Burger King, a McDonald's, to at least call someone, or payphone, because they still do have payphones, to let someone know, like, hey, I had an accident, or hey, my phone's dead. I'm trying to buy a charger now. I'm okay. To check in. They know that I that's not in my character. And this was the type of person that Nancy Walker was. It wasn't her character to be away and not say anything, especially as close as she was to her siblings, especially her sister. And then for her to be pushed off as, oh, she's probably with friends, or did she do drugs, or did she have a life you didn't know about, as though she wasn't a prominent person and thriving human being like anybody else. Nothing against sex workers. Look, they have been around since the beginning of time, so I ain't got nothing against that. However, the way Nancy Walker got some type of publicity was one of her other sisters was is a reporter. So the police were telling them, like, oh no, we can't do anything until the weekend. So with her sister being a mandated reporter, she was able to pull some strings and get some folks out there to try to figure out some things and work their magic. And still, and the interesting part, like I said last time, Nancy Walker's death happened around the same time when that as Lacey Peterson. Now we all know who Lacey Peterson is, don't we? We know who that is. That's the wife of Scott Peterson. And we all know that probably are very candid with that case, with how her baby Connor was found washed aboard the shore, and her torso was only discovered, and it was world national news. And they made an interesting point that Lacey Peterson was missing out of another state, another county, another jurisdiction, and she was on the first page of the Chicago Sun-Times versus Nancy Walker, which was on the 57th page of a Chicago newspaper, and she lived here. Do you see the biasness and how us as black people on the west and south side, because I'm from the west side, grew up on the west side. I grew up on the west side. And I frequent back and forth to the south side because majority of my family stayed on the south side. So I went back and forth in between. And it was even known back then in the, like I said, the late 90s, 99, 98, that it was a serial killer out there that was killing women. It really was. And it was dangerous, very dangerous for any woman to be alone out there on the streets by themselves. Very, very dangerous. And it was bad, very bad. Now, again with Nancy Walker, she came up missing in January. They didn't find her body until March. And she was dismembered. They never found her torso. You know, they were only able to identify her through dental records. And this probably was not the Chicago Strangler, because there was actually a break. No, not that one. I don't believe this one to be someone of the Chicago Strangler. Why? Because it doesn't fit their MO. They like to, like Dennis Rader, BTK, he had an MO where he would smother. He has killed whole families. And that was his thing, and it was for a sexual gratification for him. Whomever killed Nancy Walker, they did not, this is someone that she knew. This was someone that she was probably comfortable with. It probably was a close, maybe even a close friend of the family, a close friend, someone that's right next to them that happened, that took her life. That took her life. Because where she was found, you know, and by her being such a malevolent person to the area, was this someone that was jealous of her stability and how well she was doing in her life and thriving in the neighborhood and thriving in society? You know, jealousy and envy is a number one murderer too. So is this what possibly happened with Nancy Walker? We don't know until we get substantial evidence that she was actually killed, you know, who was her killer. Now, when we go on to Gwendolyn Williams, that is a case where there is substantial evidence that she was not killed by this Chicago Strangler, because Gwendolyn Williams, she was killed in 2002. Again, she was a sister, aunt, you know, a thriving person in her household and in her family. All these women were thriving to their families and they were loved. And it's a shame that society has conditioned that if it's poor and it's impoverished and if it's black and it's brown, we don't care. But if it's a Caucasian woman or someone with some little prestigious background to themselves, you're going to bring out all the whistles and bells, and you'll even try to protect them. Now, let's not forget, we've had all these women that's died within the past 20 years in Chicago on the mainly west and south side. And you know nothing of it. But I bet you we all know everything about Jesse Smollett. We know everything about his little lying ass. I'm sorry if you think he's not a liar. He's a liar. Everyone in Chicago knows it was too damn cold. That's when we found out we was that day old when we found out you could freeze bleach. You see what I'm saying? We know so much about that case, but we know absolutely nothing about these missing women. Zero, zilch, nada, nothing. But in Gwendolyn Williams' case, she was found in the alley, strangled and killed. And her family is yet again adamant in saying that she was not a prostitute. She was not a woman of the night. She was not a drug addict. She was not anyone on any type of substance. She was a loving sister, aunt, and an all-around human being. But see, they label anyone black and brown or lower class white person as a prostitute. I'm just putting it out there. I don't make this up. Please check out the documentary on Discovery Plus, and it's called The Chicago Strangler, where you get to know and find out more about these different cases. I'm telling you, it's very eye-opening. Like I said, I've always known, but they're only a blurb in the news. It's like, oh, a woman's body was found here, a woman's body was found there, oh, a woman's body was found in an abandoned building. A few women were found dead within blocks of each other, but they never tell you why or what happened or what was the circumstances surrounding these women's and victims' deaths. Now, with Gwendolyn Williams, though, in my notes, y'all, I'm in my notes. She had DNA found under her nails when she was found. And, when anytime nowadays we are in the modern technology time. So anytime you are arrested or you are picked up, you are fingerprinted, of course, photograph taken, and now DNA. And they run your DNA through CODIS. Now, of course, CODIS is a DNA test where they test your DNA against all crimes against the nation. Sometimes it pops up and sometimes it doesn't. Now, let's not forget, I know in Illinois and some parts of United States, they are so backlogged with DNA kits from rape victims and murder victims that it hasn't been even put in. So it could be several DNAs that have, that could be potentially hits, but due to underfunding and not giving a fuck, they have not been tested or ran to see whether these DNAs would match to any criminals that are convicted in the United States territories. So, yeah. A match came up in Florida for a homeless man. Now, he was living homeless in Florida, not to mention he had been arrested in Detroit and found guilty for fraud, armed robbery, and other like white collar crimes like that, like robbing motherfuckers. And he was found in Detroit, wanted for that. Now, of course, if you travel from Detroit to Florida, you can't forget to pass through Chicago. Now, they actually found his DNA under Gwendolyn Williams' nails. Now, you might be saying, okay, well, why the fuck didn't they go? I have to forget I'm on YouTube. I'm not on my podcast where I talk like I talk. You may be asking, well, why in the heck didn't they just go pick him up? And that will go to the district attorney, Kim Fox. And Kim Fox was asked that question. And she brought up a case in regards to Escart versus the state of Illinois. And it was a state where um, a gentleman was convicted of killing a woman because they found his DNA on her. Now, he appealed his conviction by saying, yes, you found my DNA. I had sex with her, but I did not kill her. So they had to overturn his verdict because that's true. We can prove that you had sex with her, and we can prove that your DNA is on her body, but we cannot prove that you killed her. So they had to ultimately overturn his conviction and let him let him go pretty much on the technicality. So due to that reason, Kim Fox will not she denied extradition from him from Florida to Chicago to stand trial for the potential murder and rape of Gwendolyn Williams because she was also raped. Now, who's to say that he didn't know? Now, they asked him, did he know her? And he says, no, I didn't know her. But he's a liar. He's a fraud and convicted of burglary and armed robbery. Would I really believe that he says, no, I don't know her? Like, he's telling the truth. But due to him saying those words, Kim Fox denied extradition. So it's insane because in Nancy Walker's case, you know, there's no DNA, nothing. But in this case, we have DNA, and it hit from CODIS, and it's nothing you can do. Absolutely nothing. And then, now some women were prostitute sex workers because they did actually speak to a woman who was a sex worker in her past, and she was actually strangled and she had to play dead for her life. And she ran and she never told the police. Why? Because the police do not take it as a real crime because they figure prostitution is an illegal crime. So are you going to report yourself doing an illegal crime and actually getting hurt and killed? If it was me, I ain't gonna lie. Look, I take that rap, but he touched me the wrong way, So, but they're not going to go to the to police for this. Now, you have one sex worker spoken to, and she kind of knew Velma Howard, which was 54 years old, and she was a sex worker. And she knew LaFonda, which was victim number 41, and Velma Howard was victim number 45. Now, she knew both of these ladies that, of course, when you are in that lifestyle, you're going to have people that watch your back. That's in any job or any industry you're in. You're going to have people that's around you doing that same job that are going to watch your back, that are going to make sure that you stay safe and, watch out, and, you just watch each other. And she even heard when they found, these women's bodies strangled in alleys and in abandoned buildings that, the description that they gave, it could have possibly been the man that she was in the room with. And one night that she said he tried to lock the door on her, she was able to get away. But of course, no, she did not go to the police because it's not a trusted method. Look at what's going on. You have people like Nancy Walker and Gwendolyn Williams and Teresa Bunn and Hazel Lewis, that because they were killed and dumped in a what you would say the hood of the west side and south side, that they were presumed as prostitutes, and they were not. Like I said, Teresa Bunn was 8 months pregnant. Nancy Walker, a thriving shop owner on the south side. these women were not just a blurb in time. They had lives and they had families. And to chalk it all up to saying that they all were prostitutes is bewildering to me, and it's un unprecedented. But what do you expect when a black woman comes up missing? It's a prostitute. But if a white woman comes up missing, it's a national travesty. It's a national travesty. Just like with Jelani Day, he came up missing in around the same time as Gabby Petito, and still half of you do not know who Jelani Day is. I'm just saying. And he should have been nationwide news, the way his body was found. But black and brown do not, we always get let down. And that's another reason why in these neighborhoods and areas, why would they talk to the police? They feel as though you don't fight for us and fight for us to live and thrive, but you want us to help you. When all of our violence and crime is not chalked up to gang violence and all this. Yes, it's violence everywhere, of course, in a metropolitan city, but it's all not gang members shooting and killing each other. These are women that are losing their lives. And some of these women are not living what you would call a risque lifestyle. Hell, nowadays, walking to your garbage is a risque lifestyle. Walking to go and start up your car to get gas and to go to the grocery store to feed your family is a risque lifestyle. So what would you consider risque? The only risque is that these women is doing whatever they're doing, minding their own business. Someone is taking their lives and no one is seeming to look into this. So it's a lot. It's really a lot. Like every one of these women, they were somebody. They were somebody. Every one of them. They were somebody's mother, someone's sister, whether they were women of the night or just women that lived. It doesn't matter. They were human beings. And they deserve to be treated and looked as such. No one deserves to have their lives taken in such a horrendous manner. None of these women deserved it. And now it's 55 women that they are proclaiming to be deceased and dead. But we all know that there's more, because there was a hole over here on the west side where they used to dump everything and just dump whatever. If you didn't want it, they just dumped it. It was like the little dump yard. They had that place finally excavated and cleaned up, and they found 7 dead women. So that goes to show you that no one knew they was there. If that place wouldn't have been cleaned up, who would have known? If anyone would have known that those women were there. It's something where someone is taking our women and killing them. The black woman is one of the most unprotected, most unwanted, most unloved, most unappreciated species on this planet. And as you can see, these beautiful women, no matter what they was doing, they did not deserve to have their lives taken. They didn't deserve it. They didn't. I don't care what they was doing. They had no reason to have their lives taken in such a horrendous manner. And the kicker with this is they believe it's more than one serial killer out here that is that's for killing these women. You have Selice Jackson. She was found in an alley on December 20th, 2002. Nancy Walker, yet again, 3/19/2003. Tarika Jones, Linda Green. They was both found 5/20/2003 in an abandoned building and found in the alley. These are two women that were found in the same day. Rashida Barcoli, Latoya Keeler, Latricia Hall. These women were found 2 days apart. Racinda Barcolia and Latanya Keeler was found 8/14 and 8/16 of 03 in the alley and in a garbage can. Latricia Hall, she was found in 03, found in a vacant lot. Lisette, aka Mary Thompson, she was found in an abandoned building. 10/15/03. Her and Latricia Hall was found the same day. And that was in 03, the same day. Is this someone that's taunting the police? Is this someone that's taunting everyone? Is this another individual like BTK that wants everyone to say his name? And he's only going to admit to the crimes that he's actually done? Look, Ethel Emerson, 12/26/03, found in an abandoned building. Michelle Davenport, 7/15/04, found in the garbage can. Tamila Edwards, 10/16/04, found in the alley. And the list goes on and on and on and on to where and as you can see, those were 03s. Those were the younger crimes. We haven't even gotten to the older ones. So I say this. We know it's a serial killer, but the question is, how many? Now, they are saying their crime, the crime analyst is showing at least 4. I'm saying it has to be more than that, at least 5. And they're saying one suspect could probably be a white male, and the other 3 are potentially black males. I can say this, whomever is killing these women, they are charismatic. They don't look as though they're going to do these women any harm. Hell, look, we have a serial killer down here in Miami that was a real estate. He was a realtor, and he's been killing homeless people. Homeless people. Are you serious? And he was a very fine-looking man. Look at Richard Ramirez. He was on the dating game show. So, I would think he's very probably nice looking. He doesn't look like he would probably do any harm. He could even be someone in the service industry. I don't know. But someone is killing these women. And my question even more is, why is these cases being ignored? They are not trying to solve them. They're not thinking about solving them. It's insane. It's insanity. So we're going to end this stream for today. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to talk about more evidence with this Chicago Strangler and how they do have someone in they do have someone in custody in Indiana. So we're going to speak on that individual tomorrow. So please come back and we'll see you tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, follow the channel. Don't forget to follow me on my podcast, Mayday Mayhem Podcast, which is on all streaming devices. And I'm going to end this stream the way I end all my streams. If no one told you they love you, I do. I truly, truly do. And make sure you do better today than you did yesterday and strive for a better tomorrow today. Everyone, please be safe out here. It's a new year. It's 2022. And we coming in for a whole new. So that comes with a new state of mind and a new state of safety. Everyone, please stay safe. Please be aware of your surroundings and just be safe. Okay? Keep everyone safety and vigilance in my prayers. Until next time, I'll see y'all later.